What's going on, guys? Have you ever tried to kill a tormented demon and it goes a little something like this? Oh my god, they don't stop praying. Now there's so many of them attacking me. Oh my, stop praying, you dirty rat. Oh, I killed it. Oh, I'm 1 HP. Well, it's time to tally out. Well, today is your day because I am going to show you how to fully AFK a singular tormented demon in your player-owned dungeon with melee and range at the exact same time. And hopefully you guys use this method to get some easy tormented demon logs done. And yeah, let's get rid of some of these tormented Memeons. They're disgusting. Moving on to the preset. So I'm going to quickly go over this. I do have some other sections in this video that go over more of this stuff in depth, and I will be talking a little bit about the armor and stuff while I'm actually killing the tormented demon. But there are a few important things to note here. The first is going to be the familiar. The smoke nihil is incredibly important for this method. I wouldn't do this without the smoke nihil. Basically what the smoke nihil does is it attacks with magic, and it seems to make the tormented demon pray magic like really often. I'm not entirely sure exactly why the smoke nihil or the familiar, I guess in general, has such an effect on the overhead prayer of these things, but this definitely makes this method work a lot better. And then for the gear, you can see the armor is Anima Core of Slisk. Basically, we're just going to be using some hybrid gear that is augmentable. You could use this, or you could use the Honto armor. But yeah, I wouldn't really use anything else. You could also use the third piece and a Tuska's War Priest or Zamorak or Saradomin War Priest set effect, but I find the Demon Slayer circuit is a little bit better. That 4% damage is super free. And then the last thing I'm going to go over here is going to be the cape. The cape it could be any hybrid cape. You could use like a max cape or just a defense cape. You by no means need a Zuck cape. And then I lied, I'm actually going to talk about this book a little bit. So you can see I'm using an ancient god book. This book is super weird. I don't know, it's kind of just like a random item. But the reason I'm using this over any of the other god books is because the damage from this thing is delayed and it doesn't have any additional hits that could potentially force the tormented demon to pray melee. And since the damage is delayed, like I said, your book can proc when it's praying melee, and then like a smoke nihil can come through and change it to pray magic, and then your damage comes out after that happens, so you can actually get the damage out of your book proc, even though when the book actually procced it was praying melee. It's pretty niche, but this book also costs like nothing to use. I think the pages are like 10k, so it's really nice for those two reasons. But you could also use like a Sarah book, or even I'm sure a Book of Wen is all right. For the inventory, it's a pretty basic inventory. As you can see, we're just using quorum sticks and lantidime sticks for the overload timer and the damage. And then you can see we just have holy overloads in here. The only other overloads I would really use over holies is going to be elder overload selves, but those are really expensive and I don't have any on this account. So I just used these instead. If you don't want to use that, you can use an elder overload with the super prayer renewal potion, but you will have to manually sip that pretty much every time it wears off, I've found. But yeah, pretty standard looking setup, I guess. Well, not standard looking setup, this is some like weird gear, but yeah, pretty standard inventory. And I guess I'll go over the perks here really quickly. So the perks are, I just chucked whatever into here. You can see I just made a Crackling 4 Demon Slayer, a Biting 2, and then an Absorbative 4. The Absorbative 4 perk actually like seems really good for this method. It helps you keep your HP up. I find if you don't use the Zamorak War Priest or Absorbative, you might run into situations where you're gonna have to Excalibur, but I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, especially with some emergency food. So one thing that is incredibly helpful for this method is if you have done the Dimension for Disaster quest and you have gotten some reward points, you can come over here to Gypsy Heiress, and as you can see, for 5 points, you are able to buy a Danklight upgrade. And this is incredibly good for this method because it allows the Danklight to do significantly more damage. If you don't have this, honestly, this method probably isn't quite worth it. But yeah, if you do have it or you have enough points for it, it definitely is going to help you out quite a bit. So make sure you're getting that for this method if you do want to be doing this. Tormented demons are located in the Guthix area from while Guthix sleeps. And you get here by going to the Tears of Guthix teleport with a Games necklace and then using your Sapphire Lantern on one of these creatures over here to get into the cavern. And then you just go across the cavern to get into the Tormented Demon area. But if you don't know, you can also come here to the Max Guild and set your Max Guild portal, as you can see here, to a Tormented Demon portal. And this is a pretty nice thing to have if you want to start getting your soul. So you can see here there are all of the Tormented Demons, and if you want to be getting your soul here, I would highly suggest using Necromancy. The Tormented Demons are not able to pray against Necromancy, so you can see here, even without breaking their shield, you don't have to deal with their prayers or anything, and you can just revo them down. It's not the fastest method. You definitely could kill these things normally if you wanted to get the soul a little bit faster. But using this method isn't too bad, I suppose, especially considering it's 100% revo. You don't have to do anything and you just kind of stand here. So this is definitely an easy way to get some kills if you don't want to set up the method shown in this video, or you're just trying to get your soul really quick. But basically what we do here is we kill these Tormented Demons until you get 1 soul in your Ishtabi, and then you just put the 1 Tormented Demon in your player-owned dungeon, and you will AFK it from there. Once you get your Tormented Demon soul, you come over here to the large room in your Slayer dungeon, and you make sure you put the soul in one of the large rooms to look something like this. These slots can be filled with like something as long as it's not aggressive, but any aggressive creature will definitely ruin this method. So make sure you're putting the Tormented Demon in here alone, or just with some random creatures that aren't aggressive to you. We don't use aggro pots or anything like that for this method. So yeah, like I said, as long as it's not aggressive, you should be fine. So once you're ready to start killing these things, you come over here to the Sunken Pyramid, and you apparently only get an examine option when you click on the door. That was interesting. But anyway, you come over here to where you've placed your Tormented Demon, and then this is the most important part. Make sure you're switching over here to Legacy combat mode. So you can see here, I switched over here to Legacy with this weird little stance that it does. And then I'm gonna enter the dungeon here in a second. But before I do that, the buffs that we use are going to be Turmoil, as well as Soul Split. You don't actually need Turmoil for this method, but it does speed up the kills significantly. I find if you do use Turmoil and you're not using some kind of penance or reverence aura, you probably will have to somewhat upkeep your prayer with the occasional sip of a prayer pot or something like that. But yeah, so after you get those on, just overload, weapon poison, turn on your god book, turn on your aura if you want, and then come over here to kill the demon. So for the first kill, what we do here is we kill the demon, as you can see, and then we let it respawn. And ideally what we do is we get into a position after we kill this demon where we're immediately standing right next to where the respawn is. The demon will never move then, and it'll speed up the kills a little bit. So you can see here we kill the demon, and then we go over here to where it respawns, which I think is like this tile or something like that. I don't know how accurate this is. Nope, that was one off. Ruined. But yeah, you come over here where it's going to respawn, just so you're standing right next to where the respawn is. I wish we could have marked tiles in this game, but you should be able to get it on like at least a second or third kill. So you can see here, we do kill the demon again, and then we move over here into the correct respawn position. So while I'm standing here, I do kind of want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff with this method. So first off, I'm going to talk about the Smoke Nihil. So the reason we use a Smoke Nihil is, as you can see here, the Smoke Nihil will hit right there like 67 with magic, and then it turns the magic prayer on the Tormented Demon. And from what I've noticed, the Nihil takes precedence over your hits. Like for whatever reason, the familiar damage seems to take precedence over your hits for the prayer, the overhead prayer of the Tormented Demon. And as long as you get 2 successful hits from the Nihil, it will change the overhead prayer to pray magic. And then because of that, you obviously get both of your attacks to hit off prayer with the Excalibur, or not the Excalibur, with the Danklight as well as the Glaive. And then it should speed up your kills significantly if you do this. And then the second thing that I want to talk about here is going to be the God book that we're using, the Ancient Book. The ancient book is a kind of a weird choice. I find it's pretty decent for this method though. Like honestly, it might be best in slot, but either way, it costs like a page for this thing's like 10k. But the reason that I use this book over other ones is because the damage that it does is delayed. You can see here the spikes come out and then the damage comes out later. That 246 was the damage from the book. And if you notice there, it was actually praying melee when the book procced. So if it would have been a normal book, it wouldn't have done anything. But because the damage was delayed, the Smoke Nihil was able to change the prayer, and then the book procced, and it was able to do a melee hit on Prey Mage. And that's why I like this book. I find it to be really, really good for this method. It's kind of the same reason why I find the Dark Magic aura to be really good for this method, because it can just randomly hit a melee hit off prayer. But yeah, that's kind of why I use that book. And then the last thing here is if you do want to use an Anima Core of Slisk Helmet, you can use either a Saradomin or Zamorak War Priest effect with it, or if you have it, the Tuska's War Priest is really, really good. It gives you a critical strike boost, which should increase your critical strike chance, almost like if you have another few tiers of biting. So that's definitely worth using if you have it, but honestly, I find the Demon Slayer Circlet is probably a little bit better. And yeah, that's pretty much everything for this method. As you can see, it gets relatively decent kill times here, even though like some of our hits are actually off prayer. I find this gets anywhere from about 200, like 10 to maybe 230. Maybe you could get it up to like 240 kills per hour with this method. So it's definitely pretty decent, especially for being fully AFK. All you have to do is you know, manually loot, but honestly the loot here is kind of bad, so you could just let a lot of it rot on the floor, and it has a lot of alchables for the spring cleaner. And then you also maybe occasionally will have to drink a prayer pot or something like that. But yeah, I find it is a relatively low effort method and definitely pretty solid. So I find the GP per hour here is somewhere around 7 to 10 mil depending on the prices. Your main drops you're going to be going after here are going to be the Dragon Limbs as well as Dragon Claws. And then if you want to get the Ultimate Slayer title, you're also going to need to get the Runed Dragon Armor pieces, and there are 3 of those. Those are incredibly rare, and if you have a lot of time to AFK or something, this is definitely a great method to be getting your Ultimate Slayer logs done. And yeah, as you can see, it does work pretty nicely. The Nihil makes it pray magic all the time. And yeah, you do hit pretty decently here. I really like this method, to be honest with you. It's kind of goofy. You're attacking with melee and range at the same time. It's kind of funny, but yeah. Let me know what you guys think about this, and hopefully you guys use this method to farm out a bunch of Dragon Claws or the Meleers back home. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys like this method and you like some of these really low effort Ultimate Slayer guides. I plan on making a bunch of these in the future. So yeah, if you like this type of video, definitely drop a like on it and leave a comment if you use this method in the comment section down below. And yeah, as always guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.